Hello everyone. New year, new game jam, new game. A board game. I'm making another board game. I'm gonna try to be pretty quick. It is like 1:30 as I record this. In the morning, not the afternoon. And yeah, so quick rundown on what the theme is. We're making a game for a fast food restaurant chain called the Smoke Box. It's a BBQ joint. Got a little secret government research thing going on with it. We're supposed to take one of these 8 mascots and create a game. The game, I won't go over all the rules, but the important thing is that the chosen mascot character is supposed to be a villain, and also, maybe not that important, Dark Shippy Doos is gone. He's not going to show up. There's other rules here, but you can check out the link. I'm going to leave it in the description. So this is my game. This is what I got so far. Don't have a title for it yet, but tentatively, I'm referring to it as Project Grill Marks. I kind of like grill marks. I feel like it could be weirder, but that's for me to come up with later. What you need to know is that I will occasionally update this with the current prototype. As of this recording, there's a version 0.4. So you can download this, and I'll show you how to use this in a little bit. Some notes here. These rules, the basic structure is complete. Maybe it's not completely proofread, but the basic, you'll know how to play if you read it. Just keep in mind that these were written as if you were playing with the printed version, which I have not made. So yeah, at least like the gameplay portion will be applicable. I have not typed out like the specifics, like stuff about the employees or the bosses or events and upgrades, because those are in flux. Leaving feedback. You can leave feedback wherever. I'm going to create a thread in the Game Jam community tab sometime after I record this video. You can leave a comment in this video, or just like hit me up, give me a mention in one of the Game Jam threads on the Robot Party Discord. I also have this Google form. It's not that in-depth. It's just like 3 questions, and they're all just like open-ended. Just any feedback is good. Don't hold back. Alright, let's jump into this. As always, I make my prototypes using this website, playingcards.io, to upload, or to use the prototype. Make sure you download the most current one. Just click this button, it'll download. Then you gotta open up a custom room, and then you start a blank room. And bam, there's your room. You can share this code, play with other players. Speaking of which, this game is cooperative. You can play up to 4 players. This actually scales, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, so you can play by yourself. You can grab a friend or 2 or 3. And yeah, more on that in a bit. So you got your blank room. Click this toolbox, edit table, and then down here on the side, room options. Click that, and then you can click import from file, and then import that download that you got. And then you click the toolbox, and there you go. You got the game all set up and ready to go. A quick rundown on how playingcards.io works. There are 4 player seats. Just choose one and click sit here, and then the other seats that aren't being used will disappear. This is also helpful if you have other players. You can adjust your color, I believe. Can you adjust your color? Maybe you can't adjust your color. Maybe that's like one of the paid things. But the color up here is the color your mouse will appear on other players' screens. I guess there'll be a little number inside it also. You can change your name here, if that helps. Yeah. And if you ever need to, oh yeah, there it is. You can adjust your color here. And then you can stand up from seat if you want to, sit up. So, general usage. To flip a card over, you just click it. You can move cards by just dragging it around. These slots here can hold cards. Some of them are set to hold specific cards, so like this can't really just sit there nicely, but that's because they're meant for these cards. If you need to drag more than one card, you just drag the little number tab that's sticking out of it, and you're going to grab all of them. If you ever need to shuffle or flip a stack of cards, you click that tab, and there you go, flip stack, shuffle stack. And that's really all you need to know. There are a few additional tricks that I will bring up, but I will do that when needed later on. That's going to be in like boss overview and specific events. Alright, so we are ready to learn how to play Project Grill Marks. So in this game, you are playing as employees at a food truck, and the goal is to survive 5 rounds, essentially. You're going to be playing cards into these different stations, building up ingredients, and you're going to fulfill orders. Gain profit. With that profit, you'll buy an upgrade, and you repeat that for 5 rounds. The thing is, your boss has a condition that you need to meet. If you don't, you lose. Oh yeah, that is one thing I forgot to mention. If you have a difficult time reading any text, just put your mouse over it and a bigger image will appear. If you're on mobile doing this on your phone, you just tap and hold and it'll show up. So yeah, so to set up the game, each player will choose a character. If you have less than 4 players, then a player will need to double up. So this is a 4-player game. If there is a 3-player game, player 2 will control 2 characters. If it's a 2-player game, you both will control 2 characters. And if you're playing solo, you get all the characters. All the characters are used in every game. A few things to note when playing. So normally you go clockwise, or you can just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're playing with 3 players, though, player 2 has to have the 2 characters. Whoever is second gets both characters, and you do 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's turn order, but I'm going to be playing solo, so yeah. So once everyone has got their cards, you give it a quick shuffle. There's a few more things to do. Select a boss. You can do it randomly. You can talk to the group and decide. I recommend, at least your first time, choosing the Pitmaster. There are 4 bosses: Taxi, Jambon, Chip. I recommend starting with the Pitmaster. Not necessarily that he is the easiest. It's just that you don't instant lose if you don't meet their condition. So like Taxi has do this or you lose the game. Jambon has do this or you lose. Chip has do this or you lose. So with Pitmaster, you at least learn and can get a feel for the game, and maybe by the end of the 5 rounds, even if you lose, you will understand. But the game is pretty simple. So yeah, you got your character cards, you got your boss, then you set up your orders. 1, 2, 3. You flip them over. Alright, and now we're ready to start. That's it. You don't do any events until round 2. So yeah, very simple, very quick. There are 2 phases to this game. There is the prep phase, where you are building your resources, your ingredients, to fulfill these orders. You have 2 minutes. So in 2 minutes, you're going to be taking turns with the other players, playing these cards out. And this phase will end when either time runs out or all the cards have been played. And then after that, so like, a turn, the way a turn works, you should have an empty hand. Don't draw your cards until it's your turn. So on your turn, start of your turn, you draw a card, you look at it, put it out in the station. Make sure time is running first. So you draw a card, look at it, put it on station. Look at it, on station. Look at it, station. Now when you're doing this, you can freely communicate with the other players. So for example, there's this effect: remove the next card from this pile. Oh, I played a 3 on chips. Play a low number on chips. Okay, you're right. Here you go. I got it. We're good on chips. We need more meat. Drinks? Do we got drinks? Stuff like that. There's no limit to what you can communicate. Yeah. So, that's how that phase works. I'm going to stop the timer there. And then we move to the service phase. So first we got to count up our resources. So you will go through each pile of cards, flip them over, and you'll count them in order. In order because sometimes effects, some of these effects move things around. So this is 4. You can use this, but it's also pretty fast to pretty quick to just do that. Some of these effects adjust these numbers. So for this one, double this card's value if Mandy is the only character in this pile. Mandy is not because there's a Bubby card here, so that does not trigger. There are 3 types of effects. There's scoring effects, there's movement effects. So this is a scoring effect. +2 for each other character. This is a scoring effect for each card after this one +1. There's movement effects. So like this one, move the next V card in this pile to the top of this pile. And then there's also remove effects. So if V is not in this pile, remove this card along with any adjacent cards. Generally, you're going to be counting the earliest played down, but when it comes to effects, remove effects will happen first, then move effects will happen next, and then scoring effects will happen. So before you really start counting, go down the line and make sure you do like remove stuff and then move stuff, and then you can count. So smoke here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So yeah, after you have counted up all of your resources, I don't know. I don't have to like do this. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm just going to throw some numbers out. I know that's a remove card. You're going to use these to fulfill any orders in the service phase. Okay, you count it up at the beginning of the service phase. Anyways, so there are 5 types. There's S is smoke, 8 is meat, V is veggies, C is chips, D is drinks. And then the money is how much money you will get for fulfilling that order. So if I were to fulfill an order, say, let's fulfill, I think this one I can fulfill. Or is this one more? Let's do this one. This one gives me more money. I'm going to need to reduce my smoke by 4. My meat by 8. Let me just type it in. My veggies by 2, and my drinks by 4. And with that, I would get 10 profit. The orders are always in increments of 5, so it should be easy to calculate. Usually I get all the orders I can and then add it all together afterwards, if that's easy to you. One thing to note though, if you fulfill first in line, the rightmost card, you get a little tip, +2. So whenever I fulfill a tip, I separate tip orders to not tip orders and then add appropriately. Anyways, I think that's all the orders that we can fulfill. So, if you are not able to fulfill any orders, maybe I didn't have enough for anything, you lose. And that's the end of the game. But since we fulfilled orders, we get to continue to the next round. So at the end of the service phase, we get to buy an upgrade. So draw 3 cards and reveal them, and we can spend our profit on an upgrade. We can only buy this one. You can't pass on upgrades either. You have to buy at least one. The only time you pass is if you don't have any money, if they're all too expensive. But we can buy this Cluck Croc here. There are 4 types of effects on upgrades. Let's see if I can find another one to show you. So there's consumable, there's passive, there's once per round, and then there's immediate. It's fine. Immediate effects happen immediately. Passive effects are always active. Consumable effects, you keep it until you decide to use it, and then once you use it, it's gone. Once per round is like consumable effects, except you don't discard the card when you use it. You just flip it over, and then at the start of the next round, you flip it back over. Yeah. And that's basically it. For a very simple reset, you just click round reset. You don't have to go through all the trouble of collecting all the cards again. You will have to put the upgrades away, though. And then for round 2 is when you start doing events. So then you'll just like flip open this event, and this will affect how you play the round. So this one you can't play on smoke. Yeah, that's basically how you play the game. So yeah, you can go ahead and jump in right now, but let me do a little explaining on bosses and employees in case you're interested. It'll help out. Let's start with the bosses because it's faster. So we've got 4 bosses here. Pitmaster, my recommended starting boss. Pitmaster, I should have mentioned. At the end of service, at the start of the next round, any excess ingredients are discarded. You just throw it away. It's wasted. Waste food. Pitmaster's a little different. He keeps the meat. However, at the end of the game, if there is still excess meat, you lose the game. So we get to save meat, but we have to get rid of all of it, or the meat has to be enjoyed. We can't throw it away. And so we need to get an exact number discarded. So yeah, that's why this is my suggested one, because you get to play until the end of the 5 rounds. Next boss is Taxi. So Taxi becomes a spot on the board, and when you're playing your cards, you can play onto Taxi. Taxi has to have a value of 10 or more by the end of the round, or you lose the game. Oh, it's nice. It's nice that it tells you when an ad's coming up too, by the way. So I'm going to edit this part. Thank you, sponsors. Okay. So, let me tell you a tip about Taxi. If you play Taxi, it helps if you go into Edit Table, click one of these spots that holds decks, and then a little rectangle toolbar thing appears underneath it. Just click duplicate, and then set it somewhere. Here or here is fine. And then you can just go down to the top label here. Let's call it Taxi. Exit edit mode, and there you go. It's right there, Taxi. And now you can just play cards there. The next boss is Jambon. With Jambon, you have to fulfill a certain number of orders each round. These numbers are in flux. I actually haven't tested Jambon yet. Still determining what the average order fulfillment is. But as she is now, round 1, you need to fulfill 3. Round 2, 3. Round 3 and 4, you need 4. And then the 5th round, you need to fulfill 5 orders. If at any point you fail to meet that requirement, you will lose. Alrighty. Oh, that's right, Pitmaster. I forgot to tell you about the Pitmaster tip. Oh man, this is so disorganized. When you click round reset, the numbers, if you look at meat here, reset to 0. So that's what this above the round reset is. So if you have any excess meat, you can just click up here and it will remember. So when you do the reset and everything goes to 0, then you can just put that back. Just a little tip there. We got a Taxi tip, a Pitmaster tip. There is no Jambon tip. It's pretty easy to count. You just count how many cards. No special trick. Chip here, I also have not played yet. He's pretty new, so his effect is most in flux. It could change. But as of this recording, it is at the end of the service. If there are less than 10 excess chips, you lose the game. So he wants to have lots of leftover chips. That's his favorite. So when you're fulfilling, and that's after you fulfill orders, so make sure you save some chips for him. He doesn't take them at the start. You have to try to remember to keep 10 chips. I don't know, I imagine it would feel different than him taking them at the start. Alright, let's move on to the employees. There are 4 employees. They don't have... let me take this Taxi thing out. If you need to remove this Taxi spot, trash can. Okay. 4 characters. They each have different personalities. It's not like roles. They're based on personalities. Each character has 8 cards. 4 of these cards are just straight numbers. And then the other 4 have effects. So the general vibe for BJ Cotton here is this day is supposed to be his day off, and he's waiting for his friend to cover for him. So he's like not putting in that much effort at the start. But at the very end, he's like, my friend's not coming. I gotta put in the work. So basically his cards work better. He gets more points if the card is the last one in the pile. So like this one, gotta catch up. For each card before this one, this gets +1. Or if this is the last card, this gets +3. And he does have a card that helps him trigger this. So move the prior BJ card in this pile to the bottom. So if there's a BJ card that was played before this, then you can move it to the bottom. Pretty nice. He does have, each character I've tried to give at least one oops card. BJ's is probably the most brutal. Fire hazard. It's a big number. It's nice. But if you play it at the grill, which is smoke or meat, then you remove all BJ cards from the board, basically. He catches fire. That's one thing to be aware of. Let's talk about Mandy. Mandy has been working, she's like the bored teenager. Is she a teenager? Maybe mid-20s. She's worked this job for too long, so she's got pretty high numbers, but she prefers to work alone. So, for example, pulling through. Double this card if Mandy is the only character in this pile. So you can be like, I've got chips. Please don't play on chips if you're playing Mandy. There's also stuff like this. This is boring. You may move the next Mandy card that's played in this. So the card after this, you get to move to the bottom of another pile if you want. She has some oops cards, so like Smoke Break, it's a pretty big number, but you have to play it in a pile where V is. Otherwise, she goes on Smoke Break. You remove this card along with any adjacent cards. So if like there's a BJ card or a Bubby card in this line, and it's like this, then these 3 cards are out. Just gotta watch for that. Another thing to watch out for, take it easy. If Mandy has the fewest cards in this pile, remove all Mandy cards from this pile. It's not too bad. If this is the only card and there's like 2 BJs, it's just -4. Alright, let's talk about V Neelio. V Neelio is a go-getter. She loves her job. She loves customer service. One of those types. So generally she wants her cards to be on the top. Kind of the opposite of BJ. So yeah, like this one. For each card after this one, +1. This card here, triple the value if it's the first card in this pile. And she has a card that, you know, like BJ, can move cards up. Move the next V card in this pile to the top of this pile. Her oops card is too chipper. If she has the most cards in a pile, then all the other characters are removed. So it's only V cards left. So you gotta watch out for that. And then we've got Bubby Burns. Bubby is a new hire. He doesn't entirely know what's going on. He's clumsy. He's a big guy. So his numbers are pretty low, but he generally wants to work with other characters, other employees, so he can like copy them. So he's like the opposite of Andy. So like, look at this card. Can I get some help? +2 for each other character in this pile, so this could be a 6. This card is specifically between BJ and B. But he's clumsy, so he's kind of got 2 oops cards. This one, remove the next card from this pile. It's a big number, but he bumps into someone, so you're going to want to put a low number beneath that, or hope for an oops card to be put there. He also has just a bite. If this card is the last card in the pile, instead of a 3, this is a 0. Yeah, he has just a bite. Turns out to be 3 bites. So yeah, those are the employees. They all interact together. Let me point out some events. Because there's some events that I need to explain. Or not explain. How to make it easier to play in this prototype. That is tardy truck and rubbernecking. So rubbernecking says you must play your cards face down. Usually your cards are face up. So to save you from having to do that extra click before you drag, because that's just extra time, and you want to save time. Go to Edit Table, and then each of these circles represents the deck of cards. So you're going to click that, scroll down here to where it says hand. When removing object from hand, flip face down. And you're going to set that for the 4 employee cards, employee decks. And then that should work. You drag it here, I'm not even clicking. Once it leaves my hand, it's face down. Pretty cool, huh? And then once that event is over, it's very easy to just set everything back. The other event is tardy truck. So normally you have 2 minutes to play cards, but with tardy truck you only have 1 minute. Now you could just, when you start, stop it once it hits 1 minute. But when time usually runs out, this turns red, so it's like it catches the eye more. So if you want to set it to 1 minute, you go to edit mode, you click this, and then you can just adjust the right here. Set that to 1. And then you're going to have to click this reset button, and it'll be 1 minute. Yeah, I think that's all for this video. That's all I wanted to explain. Were there any upgrades? I don't think there are any upgrades that would affect anything. Stanchion support says you may reveal 2 more orders. That's what this space is for. You just slide it over. And then when you fulfill orders, you just slide everything over like that. Smoke buns, you might need an extra counter. You can use, so you basically have 8 wilds, 8 bread. You can just log it in here. This spot would generally be empty. This is just an all-purpose counter. Anything else? Close sign, mystery house ketchup. That might be about it. Whenever I discard upgrades or events, there's not like a dedicated spot to put them. What I do is I just put it on the bottom of the deck. So, like, here's my 3 upgrades. I want the buck box. So then these, you can just stack them together, drag this, go on top, there we go, out of the way. Oh yeah, see, it does this flashy thing, which is real nice. So yeah, that is the prototype. Thanks for watching. I hope you understand how this game works. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I guess the best way to contact me is the Discord. You ping me with the little @ thing. But if you don't have that, I guess leaving a comment on this video is the next best thing. So if you have any questions, there's that. Feedback. I already talked about feedback. The rules. Yeah. I'm planning to do extensive playtesting this week. And then next week I will start moving into art and other things, among other things. Maybe a story. I gotta figure out that story. Maybe I need help. And other stuff. But even after this week, if you want to keep playtesting, that's fine. Let me know. Because after this week is when I give Meebid the go-ahead. Right after this video, I'm going to show them this video and give them the go-ahead. But generally after this week, I try not to adjust stats too much, so things are easier. They won't be messing around with too much stuff. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching. If you end up playing, thanks for playing. And if not, I'll see you guys at the closer to the end of the jam.